Welcome back to Outdoor Adventure Training. My name is Mikey Bell.
And my name is Emily, and we're excited to share this Cham-o-Knees workout with you. This routine is inspired by our experience trekking on the Tour du Mont Blanc and the beautiful trails around Chamonix.
The most challenging part of the entire TMB are those long technical descents, and most hikers struggle with knee pain on the trail because they're not prepared to handle and absorb the forces of walking downhill. This workout is structured how the trail is built. We're going to get things activated, working on a little balance, and then we're going to replicate the demands of walking uphill. Once you got a little fatigue going, we're going to ask you to move in ways that mimic walking downhill so you can show up to your trek trail ready.
You don't need much for this workout. You will need a medium-sized box as well as a smaller step. Weight is completely optional, but we do encourage you add a little bit of resistance if things are feeling too easy.
We're going to get things started here with a bit of a dynamic warm-up, kicking things off with leg swings. You don't need to go crazy with this, but ideally we're swinging the leg forward and back through its range of motion. You can swing a few times and then step and transition to the other leg. We're looking for a little bit of a hamstring stretch on the way up and a hip flexor stretch on the way back.
A little bit of balance right off the bat. Check in with your body, see where you're at.
It's similar to when you're hiking and trekking, a little bit of a warm-up. Dynamic stretches like we're doing now can go a long way so you hit the trail ready to go. You don't need to do a long routine necessarily. A little bit goes a long way. Keep everything supple and ready to go. Nice work. Next up, we got knee circles. It's just a good bent athletic position. Then we're just tracing circles with our knee joints. This is really nice because we're getting flexion through the ankle, knees, and hips.
Nice stretch through the calves and hamstrings as you come around.
Make sure you reverse the direction. Just getting things moving today. Mobility is a part of stability as well. We got walking lunges next. Striding forward, sinking that back leg down. We're looking for a stretch through that hip before driving off of the front leg. Transitioning to the other side.
Keeping our core engaged and our chest up.
Lunges are one of the best exercises for hikers and trekkers. Even if you're not training for the TMB specifically, lunges are something you should implement. Getting the glutes firing. Nice
Good work.
Okay, next up, we're working on a range of motion squat. Everyone's squat looks a little bit different, but today we're just going to try to sink into it nice and easy. Good stance here. Feet are hip to shoulder width distance apart. Get in there. Come back up. If your heels are lifting off the ground, that's okay. Might be indicative that your calves are a little bit tight. Really common in hikers. Try to keep those chest up, and most importantly, don't let those knees collapse in. Really try to force them out. Getting your glutes engaged here. Take the pressure off the knees.
You can allow the lower back and tailbone to round under for this one. We really are going for depth, and your depth might look different depending on the day, depending on where you're at, so give yourself some grace. Nice work.
Okay, we're moving into a little bit of isometric loading. So we're building some time under tension here. We're concentrically squeezing our muscles, or rather isometrically squeezing them as we hold a position. So we're starting with a isometric 4-foot load, but we can start with just on one leg, just balancing, hanging out here. If you feel really comfortable here, the goal, like Emily's already doing, is get that heel up off the ground. This is really going to challenge your balance. Your calves, your quads, your hamstrings, your glutes are all engaged. Your core is engaged. If we want to overcome knee pain on the trail, it's not just the muscles immediately around the knee. It's the whole system. Particularly walking downhill, we need that whole kinetic chain to be balanced and firing so we can absorb all those forces. Woo!
Nice.
Right away to the other leg. So again, you can start with that whole foot grounded. Make sure you're really comfortable here. Get that heel up. You can absolutely have your trekking poles handy, have a wall nearby. If you're doing this at home, a chair, a couch, countertop, whatever you need. Keep that heel up.
Pay attention to what that knee is doing. You're actively squeezing through the glute med, pulling that knee into external rotation. Good work.
Shake it out. This next one's real fun. We got an isometric split squat. So just like we did in our walking lunge, we're gonna find that same position. This is gonna challenge your balance, muscular endurance through the quads, glutes, hips. So getting your feet hip width distance apart, and we're sinking in to our lunge. Making sure we're up on that back toe. We're just hanging out here, breathing.
Keeping those hips nice and squared. You might notice one hip getting pulled. Just want to make those nice and forward. You can even place your hands on your hip bones for a little bit of an aid there.
If those quads start to burn, that's normal. Try to squeeze the glutes. Take the pressure off the quads. That's what gets people on those big descents. The quads are doing all the work and the glutes aren't firing. We need those glutes to fire, which we'll be covering a lot today. Nice work. We'll come out of that, shake them out, and we'll switch to the other side. Sinking into that split squat. Here we go. 45 seconds, do your best. If you start to feel the burn and you just can't handle it, come out, shake them out, get back into it and join us. You can even pulse a little bit if you want a little extra challenge. I can't quite reach my weight, but you could certainly hold a kettlebell, wear a backpack, and just hang out here. Really pay attention to what this knee is doing. We do not want it collapsing in, and that's a theme for today. And when you're on the trail, slight external rotation, keeping it in line with that second and third toe or even wider if you know you have that tendency to go valgus and collapse inward.
Developing these patterns now before we hit the trail, so they're not completely foreign and new to us our first day out.
Okay, so we got a little circuit here, 3 exercises that are all posterior chain focused, and we're gonna mimic walking uphill now. So we're looking for glute and hamstring activation. We're starting off with a single leg glute bridge. So on the floor, and we can even start with just a regular glute bridge. So heels in close to the hips, pressing those hips up. And we can just hold here, or you can work reps. But ideally, what we're gonna do is go to the left leg here and work on pressing up with just one leg. You're gonna feel this in the glutes and hamstrings and your core. Don't let your hips drop to the side. Press them up, little counter rotation. You feeling that in your glutes, Em?
Ooh, yeah.
That other leg doesn't need to do anything fancy. It's kind of just dead weight, a little added resistance. Meet yourself with where you're at. We're switching legs here. Try to get those hips up. Even if you're just coming a little bit off the ground, that's okay. We're ultimately looking for that glute and hamstring activation. Nobody's too strong for glute bridges.
Keeping that core nice and tight also does keep our back from excessively arching here, keeps our pelvis a nice forward tilt, keeping those glutes engaged.
Just starting this climb here, up to the col. Nice work. We're gonna come up and we're gonna get into our step-ups next. So grab a box or a bench or a chair or a coffee table, something sturdy and solid. You don't need weight, but I'm gonna grab a small weight.
Why not?
So if you're just holding one weight, I like to hold it in the side of the leg that I'm loading. Driving up, woohoo, balance. And then we're resisting on the way down, and this is really key. We're coming up, and I don't want you to just flop down. That eccentric phase is where we really get stronger. I'm gonna move just a little bit further forward here. So slowly resist, and pay attention to your knee. And we're doing continuous reps on one leg here. Really trying to get that uphill engine revving. So when you're on that big climb out of Argentière,
Woo,
which is a long one, you're ready to go.
the flashbacks of the burning glutes.
And then we're gonna switch legs here. So again, chest up, shoulders back, driving through the whole foot. And then really watch how that knee tracks on the way down. Most people, the arch is gonna collapse, that knee collapses in, all that stress goes into the knees. We need to distribute that evenly through the knees and hips. So yes, we're working on uphill performance here, but that slow eccentric phase, like Emily's really working for there, that's gonna drive that downhill adaptation.
Takes a lot of communication in the body to facilitate that slow, controlled movement. Is what we're building right now. All right.
Next up, we have our single leg Romanian deadlift. This is a hip hinge and balance. But before you go into the one leg version, if this is a new exercise for you, we can work on just the hip hinge. Notice we both have light kettlebells here. You could also hold a weighted backpack. But the goal is that we're pressing the hips back and that weight is tracking straight down. Notice Emily's spine is neutral all the way through, and then she's snapping those hips forward, finishing the rep, shoulders are down and back. That weight is tracking back and down. She's got her knees slightly bent for the duration of the set. And then if you'd like, you can work on the single leg variation. I see this exercise performed incorrectly quite often because people want to go further, but the goal is not further. Further is it better? The goal is stability and staying neutral. Nice work. We'll switch to the other side. So again, shoulders back, chest up, slight bend in the ankle and the knee, that hinge. So we're pressing the hips back and then squeezing the glutes and hamstrings to come back up.
I also like to think about bringing my heel up rather than having my toe out to the side. Helps in a visual, and you nice and aligned.
And if this is really challenging for you, don't worry. We're going to go through this whole set one more time so you get plenty of practice. Getting that repetition as we're working our way up the mountain. Nice work.
Excellent.
Okay, we got a little rest in between our sets here. Gonna get a quick drink of water and we'll do it again. So hopefully you're feeling some activation through the glutes and hamstrings. And if you're not, that's okay. Sometimes the second time through, you'll get more of that. Could also be indicative that you got some tightness in your hips. Here we go. We're gonna get into our single leg glute bridge. Emily's gonna stick with the standard variation. I'm gonna show you another way to do these if you want the added challenge from a tabletop position. So my hands are on the floor behind me. Compress up like this. This adds a little bit of extra resistance here, really gets those glutes going. Keep that chin tucked. Really try to fire those glutes by pushing through the heels. Whew. And then we'll switch to the other side. Meet yourself with where you're at here. Even if you're doing the two-legged glute bridge, there's nothing wrong with that. We're all about quality over quantity. You could call this stability work, working on that neuromuscular activation, which all of our programs start with that. We really hammer it home so you're dialed. A lot of people want those hard, sweaty workouts, and there's nothing wrong with that. But if you don't have the baseline stability, you're just adding strength to dysfunction, and that's where the injuries come up. Nice work. Back to step ups. Let's see, should we hit them with a fun variation?
Absolutely.
A little trail focused movement. So trails, especially in the Alps on the TMB, are not a perfect path always. So we might, at some points, need to step up, rotate, and then step. This is the multi-planar step up, fun variation. Flexion, rotation, driving up. Only attempt this variation if you're solid with the standard step up.
Just for a bit of extra hip flexor work here, I like to see how high I can get my knee up with control here. Not that the box is that large, and definitely clear it. We want to be overachievers here. Get that hip and knee nice and high.
Nice work. We'll switch sides here. Again, don't let these fun variations steal the plot from what we're really after, which is great biomechanics. Emily and I have done thousands and thousands of step-ups, for better or for worse. I think for better.
I think they make you a good person. I think they really, or at least they make you less unhappy on the climbs. You start to enjoy the climbs.
Make sure you're balancing and resisting on the way down. We are nearing the top of our metaphorical climb of this mountain in our workout.
Woo!
We got those single leg RDLs coming up next. So we can get a little bit of variety going here as well with that same multi-planar pattern. So of course, don't progress if you're still working on the standard hip hinge. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you want, you can play with moving a little more laterally or a little bit more medially. These are not easy. Just keeping your brain and body guessing. You can even try switching the weight to the other hand, or Emily's holding the weight in both hands. I like that.
Sometimes if you're just starting off, you might think, I don't want to use any weight. I want to get the movement right, which is a great way to think about it. But I do encourage you to try, even with a little bit of weight, can help in that almost teeter-totter motion and help you stay balanced. So totally up to you where you're at.
Well said. Here we go. Switching sides here. Notice we're not squatting either. We're not bending the knee and getting low. There's nothing wrong with that. But we're really working on a lot of different things in the single leg RDL. And one of them that you're probably feeling at home is that hamstring stretch.
Yoo-hoo.
On the eccentric phase. Especially if you spend a lot of time sitting, those hamstrings get shortened year after year. And this one kind of helps counterbalance all of that. Great job. Okay, we're at the Col.
Yoo-hoo.
We made it to the Italian-French border at Grand Col Ferret.
They're beautiful. We are working off a little bit of sweat. Maybe it's really windy up there. Usually probably windy.
But now it's time to go back down, and this is exactly how it's going to be on your trek. You got your legs firing, but now you're looking at this demoralizing descent. So let's prepare for it, starting with a single leg stability hop. But before we even get into the hop, you don't have to jump to be successful on the TMB or any trek. We're going to load just like we did in our isometric load, come up, and then back down slow. So we're trying to train you to absorb the force of coming up and coming back down. But ideally, and most people can do this, and you might want to start with two legs, is just a little bit of a hop and absorb. Soft landing. That's really key. Just a little bit up and absorb. We need to absorb through all the kinetic checkpoints. Nice work. We're really just trying to teach the skills. Admittedly, it's tough in a 30-minute workout, but if you're ready for it, we can try that single leg stability hop. So just nice and easy. We're loading, popping, and absorbing. Notice we're not We're not jumping a foot in the air and then landing. Just a little bit off the ground is all you need. A lot of people shy away from the stress and the impact, but we need that impact for our tendons and ligaments to be ready to manage that load. Nice work.
Really hang out in that recovery period, regain your balance, find that stability.
You should also feel this in your glutes and hamstrings, but that VMO, a teardrop muscle on the inside of the quad, should also be working. Good job. We have a split squat, just like we did in our isometric split squat early on, but we're gonna really try to push the range of motion. I'll start with no weight. Emily, you go ahead. Show them what's up with the weight.
All right. So same with your step up. You generally want to have that weight on the same side as the lead leg. We're getting into a bit of a longer stance here with our lunge, sinking down, driving that knee over the toe, getting into a deep dorsiflexion here before we drive back out. Now, rather than up and down with this movement, I like to think of sliding forward and back.
Very well said. If your heel comes off the ground, that's totally okay and normal. Again, we might need to implement a little more calf mobility work there, but we're really trying to load the knee joint here. This is eccentric quad contraction, loading as we go down, which is exactly what happens when you're walking downhill. And if we're not training that way, knee pain is possible, maybe likely.
Borderline inevitable.
Switching sides here. So again, we're really paying attention to how our knee is tracking. We're doing our best to load it. This is where if you're really struggling here, having your trekking poles or your sticks, some other props to slowly ease into it and have something to push against can be really good early on as we start to develop that activation. The other beautiful thing that's happening here is really deep hip extension, and Emily's getting really deep into it. But that leg behind our hip is really key. That opens up the anterior chain, mobilizes a lot of things like the quads and hip flexors. And when those muscles are tight, again, knee pain is not only possible, but likely. Okay, now we need our small step or box. We got a couple weights stacked up here. This is about 7 inches, even 3 inches could be enough, but we're working on our reverse step up. Classic exercise, left leg first, I'm balancing. Same thing, I'm working on loading that knee, pushing the knee forward, extension back up. So we're not getting a lot of hip motion here. If you're looking at Emily, she's really pushing just through the knee joint and then coming back up. There's no hip dip. Her pelvis is staying neutral and she's really loading that knee. Nice work, Emily.
Ooh. You can absolutely go with a smaller step to start out with. These take repetition and consistency. So don't beat yourself up if you're like, I can't even do one. Try it with just a little bit of a ledge. It goes a long way.
And you can actually even just do these on the floor, and that's totally okay.
No equipment necessary.
Just to get started here.
Can do these
Switching legs.
on the stairs in your house. Is a very common movement that you may experience every day and not even know. But you're definitely going to experience this one on the trail a lot. Hundreds of times.
Thousands of times. Hundreds of thousands of times.
Hundreds of thousands.
Let's see, we did the TMB in 7 days. We were probably averaging 40 to 50,000 steps a day. That's a lot of steps.
It's a lot of steps.
Math is my forte. Good point. Oh yeah, we're halfway done with our descent. We're not quite down to the restaurant or the hut yet. We got a little bit more to go. So we got one more time through that circuit, starting with the hop. Now, if you want, you don't have to do this, but you can do a hop down. I think Emily's gonna stick with the normal hop, one leg, but if you want that added resistance, starting on that same small step or ledge, just a hop down. And the goal here is absorbing and not falling. My foot got caught on the box there.
Hey, it happens on trail, and the ability for you to recover and catch yourself is really what lies between a trip-ending injury and being able to recover, continue on trail, maybe laugh it off. Hopefully your friend got it on video.
We got that one
Something
on
like
video.
that. I have a lot of videos of Mikey tripping, so it's his recovery that saves him.
I am a bit clumsy on trail, which is why this stability work is so important for me. And here we go, switching legs. So all we're doing by getting up on the box is creating a little bit more impact. But again, it's all about the soft landing. Notice we're absorbing through the ankle, knee, and hip. It's not all through the knee. We don't want that jolt up the body. That's problematic. Soft landings are key, team. Nice work. Notice how Emily's really holding that range of motion at the end there. That's awesome. Especially if you land and kind of fall out of it. Correct. Get back to it. You're teaching your brain that that's the position we're looking for there.
So true. Ooh.
Great job. We got our deep split squat next. We're going to do our best. I'm going to add a little bit of weight here because we were carrying backpacks on the TMB.
We sure were.
And even if you're not carrying a backpack, if you train with a little bit of weight, it's going to go a long way, making you resilient.
Not to mention better bone density, longevity.
Especially as we age.
Absolutely. I think sometimes weight can feel very intimidating, can feel too extreme. And the reality is you can start as little weight as you like. They make them down to 0.5, maybe even less, 2 point, I think 2.5 is the smallest amount. Start where you're at. Doesn't need to be extreme. Work up from there.
You also don't need to go spend hundreds of dollars on exercise equipment. Get creative.
You could use a jug of water. You could put your backpack on, best of all.
Really going slow here, team. It's that eccentric on the way down is going to make you super strong in those descents. And everyone else in your group is going to say, oh my goodness, how are you so fast on the downhill? And you're going to say, it's because of OAT, outdoor adventure training.
Just as important on the way down, noticing your knee, what it's doing. On the way up, it can be easy, especially in that deep range, to compensate and push out in that valgus position. So we want to be just as conscious of that here. Nice and controlled. Good work.
Final set. We're almost done with our big descent here. Feeling the quads. This is when we really make a difference here. Back to our reverse. Step up. Slowly loading and extending.
It can be tempting to sit back in the hip here. Keep those hips forward and level. Core nice and tight, chest up.
Great reminder. One more on this side.
Nice.
And we'll switch legs.
You're starting to feel fatigue now. Think about how you'll feel when you're out on the trail.
On day 7.
Day 7, many, many miles behind you. That's what we're training for.
This is our last set here together, team. Let's get it done. Keep those hips forward as Emily's been barking at me. I know she's talking directly to me.
I can see you out of my peripheral. I can see all of you. Finish strong, team. You got this.
Oh, yeah. Oh, nice work. Good job. Way to hang in there. Awesome job. Way to get it done, Emily.
Good job. Thank you so much for joining us for this Chamonix workout. Regardless of what trek you're preparing for, these movements are great to do on a weekly basis to enhance your on-trail confidence.
And if you're looking for more support, we got you covered with our Trek Prep program. This is a science-based, periodized approach to systematically and slowly build the stability, balance, and muscular endurance that you need to feel good for the duration of your trek and for many years to come.
We would love to know how this workout went for you. Go ahead and leave us a comment, like, and subscribe if you'd like to see more workouts from us, and share this with your trekking buddies. We will see you in the next workout at OAT.